Hi everybody, I have another finger puppet tutorial to share with you today. This is the third one in a series of 6 weather finger puppets that were inspired by another video I saw that had weather gnomes, and so I'll link that video in the description below. So we're going to work on the cold weather finger puppet. So for this project you'll need some yarn and felt and finger puppet bases. All of those I got from achildsdream.com, but you could probably pick them up at some local craft stores. And you'll also need some embroidery thread. So I'm going to do this with a white on white look, and her hair also is going to be super blonde. And the embroidery floss is also white, which makes the whole thing a little bit hard to see. But once I had gotten started making the other finger puppets tone on tone, I decided to kind of stay with the whole look. So I'm penciling in the word cold so that I've got a guide as I am embroidering the word here, and I'm just going to do a simple back stitch. This was a little bit tedious. It did take a little while to do, so if you have a sewing machine that embroiders, I would recommend that you use that. So we started out with the finger puppets that kind of match the weather that's in our area. We're in Southern California, so we already worked on sunny, and then I made rainy because we're in the El Nino season right now, so we have had a lot of rain already. And so now we're working on cold. And so this is what it looks like when it's all done being embroidered, and now I can start working on gluing it to the finger puppet base using my hot glue gun. So I'm going to cut these notches up at the top so that I can easily fold it down up around the neck of the finger puppet. I'm just going to add a little bit of glue. I usually put the glue on the back, but for this one, or for this whole series, I want to put the glue on the front to kind of finish off the edges of the embroidery thread that's there, because I didn't tie it off or knot it at all. So I'm just gluing everything in place before I start working on the hair. Now typically I start with the hair first and then move to the body, but because I was doing the embroidery on the finger puppet, I decided to work with basically the tunic first and then move to the hair. So here I'm giving her a really full head of hair because I think that I'm just going to leave her hair without any hat or any scarf or anything like that. But then later I change my mind and I add on a really nice kind of winter hood, like a little winter hat. But in the meantime, I'm adding way too much hair, and when you're going to just leave the hair without any scarf or cap, you want to make sure that there isn't any glue showing and that there isn't any of the wooden head showing. And so I fussed a lot with this before I finally decided that she'd be the perfect finger puppet for like a little winter hood. So I'm just about done here getting her bangs and everything, and now I'm going to work on her hat, and I'm going to braid a really long strand using this really beautiful pink yarn, and I'm making this super long so that I can wind it up and turn it into a hat, because I don't want to knit a hat and I don't know how to crochet, otherwise that probably would have been faster. And so I'm just kind of twisting this like in a coil, and I'm adding glue along one side as I twist it, and then I can add the glue and then kind of hold it in place. And in this way, I can just make this little hat come together, and I just keep making each twist just a little bit smaller until I get to the very top. And then with the extra piece of braid, I'm just going to shove it through with my pencil, and then once it's in on the other side, I can snip off the extra and then glue that little piece in place, because I don't want it to unravel, and so I want to make sure that there's a lot of glue at the very tip there inside the hat, and it did squeeze through just a little bit, but if you don't mess with it and don't like try to smear anything, it dries and you almost can't even see that a little bit of it kind of seep through. So I just added a little bit more glue in there on the inside so that I can glue it onto her head. And I thought that it turned out really nice, but my daughter really didn't like it, and she kept asking me to take it off, but I had already glued it in place. She really likes this finger puppet, but she did not like the way the hat turned out. So with that extra piece of braid, I decided to use it as a scarf around her neck. But first, I'm going to give her just a tiny little cloak. And you really don't need to put like any extra layers on this one because you kind of want the lettering to show. But because I had already given the first two finger puppets in this series a cloak, I decided to add one for her as well. But it's white, so it's not like such a contrast. I mean, there's no contrast at all. And I've cut the cloak for her quite a bit smaller so that you can still see the word cold on the front. So I'm just going to glue her scarf in place because I don't want it to come off. And here it is when she's all done. And what's kind of cool about this set of finger puppet, like weather finger puppets, is that you can put 2 or 3 of them on this little wood block that says weather, depending on what kind of weather you have. So you might have a cold and rainy day, and then you would put 2 of them up. Or it could be partly cloudy, and you could have the sunny and the cloudy one on the little wood block. Okay, so if you want to see the complete playlist of these weather finger puppets, you can click here for that playlist. And if you'd like to see how we did the lettering for the wood block, you can click here for that tutorial. And if you're on a mobile device, I will add the links to those videos in the description below. And if you'd like to see more pictures, you can check out my website at pepperandpine.com. Okay, thanks for watching.